Happy Friday, 6th grade. Today you're working on your summative writing assessment. The prompt is going to look really familiar. Remember, over the past few weeks, we've been learning about bacteria, fungi, and archaea. This past week, we've talked about fungi and the structures of fungi, what food can be in fungi or what food fungi can make up. We've talked about and observed our bread mold. We've observed our spore prints. So using everything we've done in class, I want you to explain if fungi is a living or a non-living object. And then I want you to use evidence from class or from our experiments to support your claim. You're going to start by filling out your do what. So you're going to fill out the T-series before you start writing. Your topic, you are defining and explaining any key science terms. You're going to restate the prompt and preview any evidence that you have. Your claim is where you're going to give me the answer to the prompt. And then your evidence is going to be any observations or experiments that we've done in class. Make sure you explain those experiments or the observations. Your reasoning is where you're going to connect the observations or the experiments to the characteristics of life to explain why you think your claim is correct. And then your ending, you're going to restate and remind and extend. You can choose to do this in full sentences, but you need to make sure you do not copy and paste from your T-series into a paragraph, because that's how you're going to get really choppy paragraphs that don't make any sense. So we have an example paragraph from the last writing prompt. So you'll notice that this writing prompt is very similar to the last one, except this writing prompt is asking you about fungi. So your claim could be something like, I claim that bacteria is living because it meets all of the characteristics of living things. An example of evidence that is really strong evidence that could have been used for the last essay, but not for this one because we're not talking about bacteria, is, for example, one piece of evidence is yogurt. Bacteria is added to the yogurt making process. The bacteria eats the sugar in the milk and gives off lactic acid. This makes plain yogurt taste sour. So if you notice in my evidence, I gave an example piece of evidence and then I explained what was going on in that evidence. So it wasn't just one sentence. It was a couple sentences. And then in my reasoning, this is where I'm explaining why my evidence proves the characteristics of life. So my evidence proves that bacteria consumes nutrients and eliminates waste. When the bacteria eats the sugar in milk, it is consuming nutrients. The yogurt eliminates waste when it gives off lactic acid. Eliminating waste and consuming nutrients are both examples of characteristics of living things. So I've connected what happens in yogurt, or connected my evidence, to the characteristics of life. You also need to do that transition word in that scientific vocab chart again. So remember, transitions are any words that link to sentences, like this proves that, my evidence is, before, next, first, last, any sort of words like that. And your scientific vocab can be any words from the vocabulary wall, any tier 2 words, or any words that you use only pretty much in science class. Once you've completed all of those charts, you can work on writing your paragraph. This is just a 1-paragraph piece. You do not need to talk about all of the characteristics of life that fungi show. You just need to focus on 1 or 2. Okay? If you look back at my example paragraph, you'll notice that I only talked about 2 and I only used 1 piece of evidence. So you don't need to focus on every single characteristic of life. Once you're done, you can submit it. If you do not finish in class, you need to finish it for homework. I need it by Monday. Good luck and enjoy your weekend.